Welcome, friends. LostScarf here, and it's time for basically a podcast with Verbalosity.
Me again.
Yep. Alright, so quick reasoning. Why is it Verb again so quickly? One is, who doesn't like Verb? The other one is, like 8 people flaked on me. So,
Oof.
go with someone reliable. Verb's reliable. So, also some companies, you're like, no, go to hell. They did not say the
Also,
last part. They just like, no.
I just realized something,
Yeah.
Stuff. This is technically a canon continuation because last time I was on, weren't we talking about the Xbox
Oh, yeah,
conference?
we were talking about Xbox. Yeah.
And the main topic for today is going to be the PlayStation one that happened last week.
Mhm.
So, canon.
There you go. All right, and then eventually, whenever Switch 2 comes up in a year or 3, that'll be the next Verb episode. There you go. That would be bad. It takes that long. So, just overall impression, just of the PlayStation 5 presentation, that whole thing. I think it was fine. What were you saying?
I was going to say, PlayStation, TLDR, the conference, PlayStation played it magnanimously well, considering that Xbox are splitting their stuff into two. The first one that we covered was all the third-party stuff. Their first-party big hitters are coming next month or end of this month.
Oh, so
PlayStation just took all of their stuff and slapped it in the middle as like a giant counterpunch.
Okay.
And it worked.
So just remind me to get in contact with you again when that happens. For sure. So that we talk about that again. It was only a third part. Okay, yeah. And then at some point, PC gaming show happened, and nobody watched it. All I heard it was very cringy, and then Nintendo hasn't done anything yet. They've just been slowly putting things out. Like they put out Origami King, and then today they put out Pokemon Snap. So Pokemon people lost their minds right now, because that's a game that
was.
Last one was on the 64.
Yeah, that was way before my time, so I didn't get the hype. But when I woke up this morning, way after the show finished, and I was looking at my phone, just like, what's going on? I've woken up. What is Pokemon Snap, and why are people freaking the hell out? And then I start looking it up. It's 20 years old. What?
Yeah.
Why are people freaking out for a 20-year-old game?
So they're making a new one. Okay. Random thing from the PlayStation. Going there real quick. When they showed Horizon Zero Dawn, people were like, "Oh, let's compare Pokemon Sword to Horizon Zero Dawn." It's like, look at the difference graphically. It's like, yeah, okay. You forgot Breath of the Wild, apparently, and now we've got this Pokemon Snap. They're like, all right, we'll compare this to this. It looks so much nicer.
Next up, comparing Pokemon Snap to Fatal Frame.
Oh my god. It's just, it's really what you're going for with your graphics. And Horizon Zero Dawn, it's about the environment. So it better look nice. And it looks very nice. That reminds me, I need to play Horizon Zero Dawn 1 at some point. It's on PC now, I think, so I definitely have no excuse not to check it out, right?
Coming.
It's
coming.
So I eventually have no excuse not to check it out.
Yeah, it's like Horizon Zero Dawn and now Horizon Forbidden West they are not only great games in their own selves, they are PlayStation's primary technical showpiece. Like, in PlayStation 3, that was like infamous Second Son. PS4, it ended, if you ever remembers the infamous Second Son game, I low-key love that series. Then, like, for PS4, it was Horizon Zero Dawn, Guerrilla knocking it out of the park with their engine. There's a reason why the game that uses the same engine as that, the Decima engine, Death Stranding, looks so good. It's because they have that all the groundwork in place. And now going to PS5, like, Guerrilla Games will do nothing but good things, I imagine, off that trailer. Unless that was like Killzone 2 levels of bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't think that... Ironically enough, Guerrilla published Killzone, I think. Oh no, they technically have a history of it. Oh no, they have a history of bullshots in their past.
Oh, concerns.
Ooh.
Thing I just remembered. Awkward. I put this on for a reason. There we go. There. That's why I put it on. Because of the freaking PlayStation 5. For some reason, it's got Chad. It's got the Chad shirt going on.
I wanted to leave this for as long as I could because it's so dumb, but you forced my hand. The console design, bless its heart. Like, I understand the reason why Scarf. It's like for venting. If you look on like the sexy CG close-ups they give you of the console, it's like the collars out, they have ridges in between them. to allow you to have airflow.
Oh, that's cool.
But from the outside, it looks like Seto Kaiba.
Yes,
For the Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like...
Kaiba. It's just ridiculous. Like, I think what I appreciate, I think maybe what's nice about the Nintendo ones is they're just a cube. They're a cube or a rectangle and a rectangle again, or it's just the console itself.
The Series X is actually an oblong. It's literally an oblong.
Like what was
literally
weird?
Just that.
Okay, like what was weird was with the PlayStation. Like when they did the presentation, like these things, like whoa, I'm like, it's gonna be S shaped because they're doing this a lot. It's like it kind of is S shaped.
Return of the PlayStation 3 prototype boomerang controller.
Oof. Oh my god.
Do you remember that from back in the day? The boomerang
That
controller
thing
prototype?
I really want to believe someone actually threw one just to see if it would work out. It's like, all right, here we go. No.
The ultimate rage quit prevention. Throw your controller at the television, comes right back to you.
That'd be
Save
amazing.
yourself some money out of the television.
Uh-huh. If technology was that advanced, it'd be kind of amazing. It's like, no, dummy, don't throw your controller. Don't do that. I think just
design. It's like, yeah, but what were you saying?
And then with Xbox is just a computer tower, right?
Yeah, people joked it was a fridge. Like, it's literally just like a cube. You could stack them as bricks if you got some cement.
Nice. I think when it comes to consoles, I'm going to say the best console design has got to be the GameCube. Because it's literally a cube and then a handle. That's it. It says what it is. And you can carry it easily. So it was like, this is a pretty good design. And you can just easily stack a bunch of them together. Obviously you can't, because the handle's in the way, you can't do it perfectly. But you can stack a bunch of them. It was pretty good.
Although, if we're talking design scarf, there is, of course, the new paradigm that both consoles are going to be doing, or at least Xbox is rumored to be doing with Lockhart, and that PlayStation has fired the first shot on, and that is the digital-only versus disc versions.
I'm curious. I feel like that's them dipping in to try to get digital-only for PS6. I feel like that's what they're trying to do. Like, all right, eventually just phase out discs, because physical discs just cost more to do. Digital, of course, you don't have to worry about making discs. Like, that just cuts out money, right? Like, costs. That has to be the reasoning there. People like the physical, but we're getting into generations that don't know what the hell that is anymore. There's plenty of computers that don't have CD drives anymore, so that would just cut out costs. And that's got to be the reasoning for that. Which will totally kill brick and mortar eventually. At least to an extent. You can still go there for random tat if you want, but like, I remember GameStop back in the day, it was just games. And then over time, there's just more and more plushies showing up at GameStop. More plushies, more socks and shoes, clothing is there. They've become kind of a gaming hot topic in a way. That's what GameStop's have
gaming
become.
Spaces, rentable computers. They've got a little bit of a PC bong thing going on.
Yeah. It's kind of a trip what they're doing because of digital, they're just losing out on more physical sales. Also because their big paradigm is use games. That's their big thing. That's probably another big reason why digital only. Because it cuts out used games.
And that's a good point, actually. Off topic from PlayStation, Xbox announced this. They're doing a new thing called a digital... it was, I can't remember the exact brand name of it. But essentially the gimmick is that whenever you get when you can buy a console, you usually get a bunch of codes for games. Yeah. Now, they're phasing out codes. What they're doing is that when you boot the console up or put in whatever promotional thing it is, like a disc, like that's got something on it or whatever, now, when your game, like Xbox Series X boots up, you get a thing saying, claim this game. Xbox is trying to kill the code market.
Interesting. So it's just direct and...
Yeah, I'm going to actually try and find what that's called for you, because...
I wonder how that'll work out in the future, just because, it's because, Steam is very much a codey thing. And as long as Steam does codes are just going to be a thing, as far as I can tell. Because you also just can't do direct... when you just do direct, it just makes it harder to do giveaways, and gifting would be a bigger pain in the ass without codes. But it also kills G2A, which would be good, because GTA is a pile of crap. So I don't know. Shoot.
It's not smart delivery. Smart delivery is something else. Smart delivery, that brand name, is specifically about buying a game from the last generation and getting it on the next one.
Okay.
That system. Basically cross-buy, like the usual moniker for smart delivery. PlayStation 4's got something exactly. I'm trying to find the exact brand because it will be kind of important to know because, of course, if you're killing codes, like you said, gifting's a pain in the ass. For example, gifting on Xbox right now, I've got an Xbox One X, and I can't gift a game cross-region to my friends in the US. I can't do that. Vice versa.
I think Steam did something like that, too. You can do it in freaking Switch, though. Nintendo, you can do it. It's weird.
Can you go on Nintendo? All right.
Yeah, like, Nintendo, you can do cross-region. You just have to have a profile for that region. Like, if you're a Nintendo person, which, a bit of a disclaimer on it, if you have a Switch, you can have a Japanese account. You can also have a European account. You just have to put that this is your region for this other account, and there you go. But you have to be very careful because if you do it incorrectly, it'll wipe all the funds from your Nintendo store because it thinks it's another region. So you don't want to have any money in your Nintendo stores if you do it, or else it just wipes it. Which is a weird. I don't know why that happens, but if you want to have multiple regions, you can. Because Japanese Nintendo Switch stuff, like Nintendo Switch Online for Nintendo and Super Nintendo, different games on there you can play. So it's cool to do the other regions for that. And also sometimes Europe gets demos before the US does.
Yeah. Here we are. Digital Direct, just for reference. Yeah, it's Digital Direct. That's the brand name for it. And like whenever you boot it up, you can just redeem, like, for example, they're looking at the screen I'm looking at, you could redeem Forza 4 and Lego Speed Champions on the console. So Xbox is doing that. I'm not sure if PlayStation's going to do something similar.
Okay.
Or maybe Nintendo. But Xbox has fired that shot, has shown that off in that regard, which is pretty important because that's codes going down the drain.
Yeah. The hardest thing for that is going to be logistically for, well, advertising as well. It's going to be a big pain in the ass there because I get codes thrown at me all the time. Like, just talking about indie development, they'll tell Steam, hey, I need 1,000 codes. They just generate 1,000 codes from Steam to the game developer, and the game developer sends them out to whoever they want to contact for advertising. Like, for example, Disintegrated? That's a new game that's coming out.
From the old Halo guys, yeah.
Like,
I remember.
They sent me a code, and the way they had to do it was, they told Steam, hey, we need like 10,000 codes. And then they gave them 10,000 codes, and then they used whatever program to just, this line goes to this person, emails to this person, emailed it. Like, they're just emailing it out to people. If they don't have the codes, I don't know how they're going to send them out to people so that they can do LPs or whatever to advertise their game.
If I had to fire off a shot in the dark as someone who doesn't into that, Xbox has implemented a battle tag style system recently. If you've ever played like a cross-play game that happens to be cross-play with Xbox, and you see a battle.net style name of like, for example, I've got a friend on Xbox who is like bladdy bladdy blah hashtag number. That is if you make a new gamer tag. I've just got Verbalosity still on Xbox without the numbers because I haven't changed mine. But they're doing numbers now. So if I had to guess, if like hypothetically if I were to like contact someone and get a code, I'd give them my ID, my Battle.net ID or Xbox ID, and then they would just flag the account for the game essentially, Digital Direct. PlayStation, I imagine, like PlayStation's always had a thing for keeping it traditional. Like if you remember way back at one of the when this generation was being first announced, and there was the whole pre-order kerfuffle with Xbox One, where like they were doing like no pre-owned stuff, like renting and all that.
Oh, yeah,
and PlayStation literally jumped on it with here's how you do pre-owned. Done. PlayStation's always had a thing for that. So if this ends up being a case of no codes is bad thing, PlayStation may put that in their advertising, like, hey, here's how you like get a code out of the box. Done.
Yeah.
They may go for that again.
So I guess we'll see what happens with that. I just don't like the logistics. Whatever is easiest for the people at the top is the thing that's going to happen. and whatever's the most complicated for P at the bottom is what's gonna happen. I just don't know. I guess we'll see. If it's only Xbox that does it, not that big a problem because it's only Xbox doing it, not everyone doing it. Now, if Xbox and PlayStation both implement it, then things have to change with how just that whole system works out. Although, then again, Humble Bundle kind of has been doing that too, where they try to do direct link kind of things instead of just giving you a code. So that is something that's been tried before. I just don't know. Exhausting that topic, I think. Back to PlayStation's thing. What do you want to talk about first? Just
branching from old generation shenanigans to old generation games somehow coming back from the dead again. The first game that was talked about at the PlayStation 5 conference, Grand Theft Auto 5.
All I know is everyone flipped the hell out.
A game released 2 generations ago, once again rearing its head. And 2021 release date for PS5. And they will be releasing a standalone GTA Online. I mean, that game makes literally billions of dollars, so why would they not?
Like, you get why, but you also get why people are like, where the hell's 6? Like, it's been a while. 6 would be nice. I get that. I don't think that was the way to start. I think the second thing was the way to start. Spider-Man Miles Morales would have been way better to start. Not GTA 5.
GTA 5 on PlayStation 5 for some reason.
We were back at GTA 5.
Dead.
Yeah, so technical issues, Discord's not cool. Alright, okay, so we're talking about GTA 5's back again. And, okay, you said all your stuff, something. So, I get it, GTA 5 makes all the money. It's a ridiculous amount of money it makes. But come on, GTA 6 already. Like, come on. It was not the way to start. We're the PlayStation 5. Hey, let's get a game that has a 5 in it, I guess. Like, why wasn't it Ratchet and Clank was the first thing? People are big fans of Ratchet and Clank. That should have been #1. Or Horizon Zero Dawn should have been the #1.
Or even start with what was shown right after, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a whole thing with this, but just on base level, showing off a new Spider-Man game with Miles Morales works on so many different levels right now, because not only Into the Spider-Verse 2022 or 2021, the sequel to Spider-Verse, always popular. Then there's always like the little like nudge towards the Black Lives Matter movement right now. So starting with a good black protagonist, always a good idea.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to go full Destiny when they reveal Beyond Light and do an 8-minute 40-second pause. Just start off with goddamn Miles Morales, one of the best Spider-Men out there. But the game itself, I had issues with how they presented it because there was all sorts of information muckery. Do you know about this, Scarf?
Yeah,
what happened?
I don't even know what's true. Because when it first came out, everyone was like, "Oh, sweet, smart, he's getting his own game," and now it's a DLC or it's a standalone DLC. Like Jesus, those games where they have standalones. Far Cry standalone, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is now.
Primal, Blood Dragon to the respective games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it that, or are they giving more information?
That's the thing. So people assumed, like, when on the stream, it was captured on PS5, Spider-Man Miles Morales 2020. So people thought brand new game. Then a Sony executive came out and said that it was an add-on to a PS5 remaster of Spider-Man PS4. Then the Insomniac Twitter account came out and contradicted that and said it's a brand new experience.
Well, even as a DLC, it's going to be a brand new experience. So, like, the problem with that wording is, brand new experience doesn't mean new game, doesn't mean not a DLC. So, that is just actually worthless.
Yeah, let me pull up my Twitter real quick and double check my wording on that. But
okay.
I'm fairly sure.
I just know it's a mess. It's all over the place right now with that, and it's not helpful. And while you're checking,
not helpful to have kind of contradictory information like that. Yeah, okay, here we are. Insomniac Games. Marvel's Spider-Man's Miles Morales is the next adventure in the Marvel Spider-Man universe. We'll reveal more about this standalone game at a future date. # Miles Morales PS5. So, always drink more water, by the way, in these hot times. # drink water. But yeah, 2, it is a standalone game, they say.
Okay, so maybe like Blood Dragon. Or it'll be its own game. I mean, like an actual sequel. We'll see.
Is that going to be Spider-Man PS4 2?
Yeah. I don't know. All I know is it's people really like that game, and having Miles Morales be a character, that'd be cool. So, Spider-Man's
Like,
great.
they can even lean into Spider-Verse stuff there. Like, the game already had a neon-ish look to it in some places.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's a perfect combo. Insomniac, kings of, like, wacky, cartoony graphics with Spider-Verse. It's like, take my money.
Someone put the main song from Spider-Verse on the trailer, and it was really good. So it works. So there's at least going to be a skin from Spider-Verse in there, because at least they can do that.
Yeah.
And then, what was it? Okay, so then was GTA.
Cars.
Yes, cars.
Car time.
Now the thing is,
Gran Turismo.
If it was an actual E3, which PlayStation doesn't want to do E3 anymore, but if there was, like, where the car would have come from the ceiling or from underground, the car would have came from somewhere. Or was it Xbox that does that? No, it's GT, right?
PlayStation have done it sometimes when they did announce a new Gran Turismo, but Xbox did it more frequently because they actually release like Forza games way more frequently than Gran Turismo does. The last E3, the same one where they had the Keanu Reeves "You're breathtaking" thing, they literally had a McLaren F2, I think it was, come out on stage in darkness. When they then showed the surprise Lego expansion, they revealed it was made of Lego. So new Gran Turismo, full fat, not a spin-off. This isn't like an A spec. This is Gran Turismo 7 by the looks of it.
Yeah.
And it purdy.
Yeah.
It purdy.
Gran Turismo is your way to know how strong is this console. That's Gran Turismo is the way to find out. That's what you do. And oof. They've never been my jam, but I don't get it. Forget it. No. It's just it looks nice. You understand to an extent why people care about graphics so much when you look at that. Like, that looks really freaking nice. Looks nice. I assume they try to make the car handling really good. It's GT. I'm out of my depth here. Whatever. Moving on. Also out of my depth on the next thing, Ratchet and Clank.
Now, Ratchet and Clank, of course, brand new Ratchet and Clank. The TLDR of this presentation is, oh my god, new Rule 34 bait with the new Lombax.
Yeah.
And oh my god, loading times. I mean, it's a new Ratchet and Clank. I have played them, but I'm not a massive fan. The only one I've played was Gladiator or Deadlock, depending on which region you knew it in. Over here, it was I think over here in England it was Gladiator. In the US, it was Deadlocked.
Okay.
But yeah, like new female Lombax by the look of it from a Rift, because the whole game's gimmick is like rifts in reality messing with the world.
Oh.
And also the loading times instead of rifts. This comes to a bit of a key point in this generation between both the Series X and the PS5, in my opinion, Scarf, is it's not about graphics this year. It's not about insane infrastructure like online, but yeah, Xbox Live versus PlayStation Network when they first both came out on like like Xbox 360 versus PS3. This year, it's all about loading times because games can now expect an SSD.
Like, ow. Yeah, that is. They better have SSDs at this point in time. Like, that's just the new thing. That is also an expensive thing to have, which is causing all the price speculations because of things like the SSD being in there. But yeah, load times are important because I think I talked about this last time. I remember PlayStation 1 load times. I remember sitting there for 15 minutes waiting for the game. And then you played it, and it wasn't a very good game. And then you regretted for those 15 minutes. Sometimes they were good, sometimes they were not. But yeah, I remember load times being long.
A product of that, though, was one, we got some of the best loading theme tunes in the game, looking at you, Crash Bandicoot, and two, some of the best loading screen mini games ever, looking at you, Shootable, now loading Logo and Devil May Cry 3.
Yes.
And I'm very curious because for those of you who don't know, both PlayStation and Xbox have confirmed this. There are going to be games that you physically cannot load on a hard drive for the system. They are expecting the SSD. Like, there will be games optimized for it. For example, Hellblade 2, that was announced for Xbox. That will expect an SSD. The game will be built expecting it. Which is why, like, Xbox announced they're doing, like, 1 terabyte SSD expansion cards and the like old school memory card expansion slots in the back of the console because you got to have more SSD space. But if a game is because of course you can have an SSD on a PC. I mean, we all do have SSDs in our PCs.
Yeah,
Faster
not
loading
everyone
times.
though, but
okay, not everyone. But that's the point. Games on PC have to have the floor be the hard drive, right, Scarf? But if a game is expecting an SSD, that changes the game immediately. In terms of how they design things.
That's gonna hurt your bottom line, though. Like
every console's got an SSD minimum.
Yeah,
so you just have to choose what you install.
I'm thinking about the PC audience, like, because PC is the biggest audience at the end of the day. When I think about it.
That's a good point, actually.
Like, everyone's got a PC these days. Not everyone's going to use it for gaming, but everyone's got a freaking PC these days. And that just affects the PC market, for sure. But if you don't care about the PC market, then there you go. But
maybe it's a case of the PC being what it is, you just have them brute force the loading times anyway by installing it on an SSD. It's like, and then for the consoles, they have to expect because because the floor now for console is SSD because they have one minimum on it. Hopefully, we don't get a game like Modern Warfare, which is like 150 plus bloody gigs. Modern Warfare's a big girl.
That's the other thing. Unless they want to go multi-disc, I don't know how that will work. Like multiple hard drives where specific things are on the SSD, other things are not. How would that work? I don't know, but cause yeah, you get a freaking 150 beast that wants to be on the SSD. Go the hell, go away. No, you're not happening, bro. SSDs are the big expensive thing right now. That ain't gonna happen. Like, I'm looking at getting like some more SSDs. They're not cheap. They're not cheap at all. You're kidding me? SSD requirement is an interesting prospect. I just don't know at the same time. We seem like Hellblade. Like, one thing for sure is that that right there is going to be very basically anything that has SSD requirements can not be ported to Switch for sure. Guaranteed on that one. It's also going to be just because the next generations are happening. It'll be interesting to see how porting happens to Switch because Nintendo, of course, has never been the graphical powerhouse. They've always been more. They go for more interesting art styles because of that, and also they've just never been heavy on that. Like example, really quick, has got to be the port of. Not Witcher. Witcher 3 apparently is a really good port. The port of the one in space. They're not Bethesda. Oblivion? No, Obsidian Space.
Obsidian. Prey.
Not Prey. No, it's not Obsidian. It's is it?
Yeah, if you're thinking Bethesda published in space, that was made by and you're talking about Prey. They were made by Arcane.
No, not Bethesda, but like Bethesda always has them do work for them. They made New Vegas.
Oh, Outer Wilds.
Yeah, the Outer Worlds. Yeah, Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds.
Oh, yeah. By the way, apparently Outer Wilds is amazing, so I have to check that out at some point. But Outer Worlds, Outer Worlds is a really bad port. Like graphically, it looks awful. So I don't know if they're gonna have to do like a patch to make it look better. But that also is partially on the company, just how they can make it work. But it didn't look good. It didn't look good at all. So I don't know. I just thinking about just other aspects like. Look, there's PlayStation itself and Xbox, but just interesting. Just think about the ripple effects on the other markets by them. Xbox, how it ripples onto PC mostly. PlayStation to an extent because PlayStation has way more exclusives to PlayStation, so you don't have to worry about it as much. And just also think about ports when the third parties happen to PC and to Nintendo.
Two things though, Scarf. I'd say first thing, I think. The SSD thing, it'll suck initially, but it'll be like when HD TVs first came out. Oh, yeah. I remember when the 360 first dropped, and I didn't have Dead Rising because I was too young at the time. I wasn't allowed to get it. But I had friends who had it, and if they tried to play Dead Rising on a standard definition television, it like the text was all weird. Look, it was optimized for HD, and now these days you can't like play an Xbox on a standard issue television, I think.
Yeah.
So I think we're just in that next element of phasing out slowly over time. And I think we'll still have hard drives for mass storage of things. Like I've got a hard drive plugged into my Xbox, an external one, for like holding extra games.
Yeah.
But I think in the future, just like getting a cheap SSD and plugging it in will be standard.
Yeah, well, it's
think...
gonna happen eventually. That'll be cheap. Like, it's always gonna work that way. Is either size gets cheaper or the next thing gets cheaper. So, because of course, that's just how memory works. We used to have computers that only had like what 50 megabytes, and games were in the KB area, and then sometimes you got a game that was 1 point something MBs, and that was considered big. And we just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they get cheaper and cheaper. So eventually, yeah, SSDs will be cheaper. I just think in the initial jump, it won't be so great, but over time, yeah, SSDs will be cheaper.
The other thing I was going to mention, Scarf, I want to pick your brains about. Hypothetical here. Can you think of any Nintendo game on Nintendo platform you've played where the game could be fundamentally improved by having insane loading times? And as an example from my end, I've watched a playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Remake. A lot of places in Final Fantasy VII Remake have awkward places where like Cloud has to shuffle through a gap.
Really?
As the loading screen.
Oh my god.
There's a ton of them in Final Fantasy Remake. With fast loading time, those are gone. You can just bolt through.
Yeah.
Like normal. You wouldn't have to have like convenient rubble fall that you've got to like work your way, like move through. It's just done. Can you think of a Nintendo, like a game on Nintendo like platforms that would have a similar effect of just being fundamentally improved by having quick loading times?
I can't. Well, okay. Loading times on Nintendo. Looking at the library really quick. What has a long loading time? Animal Crossing's loading times maybe 20 seconds. That's not so bad. You're just sitting there and waiting when that happens. See, what else is another game I got in here that's got potentially loading times?
Propaganda.
Loading times on that, not so bad. Loading times are like 10 seconds, so that's not too bad. In-game loading times, I think here. Yeah, there's always like 5-10 seconds in game where you're just not doing anything because it's loading the usually it's when it's just loading the game, not in game itself. I can think about. Of course, that's
Here's
off the top of my head.
Animal Crossing specifically, right? I haven't played it, but don't you have to go through a tiny loading screen when you have to enter a building or a tent? Imagine if you could take those out and just have them be walkable buildings.
That would be really cool. Yeah, I think there's like a couple second loading time. Going to the game right now just to look while we're talking. Yeah, cutting down loading times. Seamless loading times are the thing. Like that's really good. The best ones, of course, like we talked about this last time, is just ones where you don't realize it's a loading time, like the elevator in Mass Effect, or if you go through rubble just for a moment, not too dang long. Cutting
it gets
down
blatant
things
in the remake, though. It's blatant in the remake. Just so many
That's
of just like scooting. like I know it's a loading screen, but
Yeah, here we go. So loading right now, just starting up Animal Crossing. It is loading. Like there's a thing in the corner, it's loading. So like maybe 15-20 seconds just to load up the game. 20, yeah, and then it loads up the game. And take a look at going into things. Less load times are always a good thing. Of course.
Here's a thought. I haven't played this series either. What is the series Fire Emblem? Yeah. Fire Emblem doesn't have that battlefield battles and an overmap, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. So there's load times going into those maps. So there's load times going into those battles in Fire Emblem. Yeah, I'm remembering now. Okay, yeah. Fire Emblem going into battles has loading times. There's no loading times in battle because that would be obnoxious. But going to the battle, it's loading times for sure. Say maybe like 30-40 seconds. So yeah, speeding that up a little bit would be nice. But once you're in the world, you don't have to worry about loading. That's where it'd be annoying if you were loading in the world.
I say that because I had a thought. Imagine if you're in the overworld, you select the battle. Instead of having a loading screen, the camera zooms in straight to the battlefield from the overmap. Like, that's the loading screen, is you just zooming in on the world, and then you're in the map.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, it's about like 1 or 2 second load times when you go in and out of a building. So yeah, okay. So just seamlessly going into buildings would be cool. Yeah.
Elder Scrolls suffers from that, mainly because of the engine. But like anytime you want to go into a building, you have to load a new cell in the map. So loading screen anytime, apart from rare buildings where you can just open the door.
It's been so long.
Yeah, like Skyrim, like Bethesda RPGs, not only benefit from a new engine, but an SSD, like Elder Scrolls 6, which is confirmed to be a thing for next gen after they do their space game, which name I can't remember. Starfield.
Okay.
Look, like the SSD is going to be huge in that regard.
Yeah, for sure. With that, yeah, cutting out load times is always going to be amazing. Is always going to be better. I don't think there's anything to argue against that. I think just cost
Cost at
wise,
most.
yeah, the only argument
Even
is cost. That's it. But over
even
time,
then, like over time, and Microsoft and Sony will probably want to eat a lot of that cost themselves just to get people in the door.
yeah,
Like consoles are loss leaders half the time.
yeah. Right now is the argument about that is everyone's like, well, what's it going to cost? People think it's going to be like 600, 700. Like, it can't possibly be. It has to be cheaper than that because if it's not, well, then you're just going to die on that.
PlayStation 3 says hello.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember the cost of that back in the day?
Oh Jesus! What was it?
$6.99, I think it was in dollars, or $7.99, one of the two.
Ooh, I think
I'm actually gonna look that up.
the one that died, the very old example, is the Neo Geo. I think the Neo Geo was like 300, and we're talking during like Super Nintendo times, like 300, and it was. Well, I just gotta look it up really quick right now. How much that really was?
Launch PS3 was $600.
Blah.
It was a pricey one. Here in the UK, it was £425.
Jeez.
Which was one of the main reasons why our family went for the 360 at the time, because the PS3 was absurd.
Yeah. No. Okay. Here's the absurdity here. Neo Geo, 650 in 1997. That's when they discontinued. So earlier than that.
$600 pre-2000. What's that with inflation?
1990. Jeez. So 650 in 1990 is what they were asking for their console.
For the Neo Geo. Like, I understand SNK fighting games are good, but not that good. What the hell?
That was the console itself. What was the price of the games? $100 to $300 for the games. What are you expecting there? What do you? That's all right. Okay. I feel bad for anyone who bought that for their kid. Like, and then when he spent $650 and then $100 to $300 for the cartridges. And that's 30-year-old money. Like, that is inflation. That's over 1,000 for sure. So you could argue, like, yeah, like things should be costing more, but no one's gonna pay that. No one's gonna pay that amount for sure. That's just not gonna happen because it's not just like it's value and also perceived value. So yeah, please, PlayStation 3 costing that much. Yeah, that I think that's probably was a big turnoff as well. I'm pretty sure for that. What did I have during the PlayStation 3 era? Oh, I know. I had a Wii and a Wii U, whichever one it was at the time. Because that was
the PS3 was the Wii. Yeah. PS4, Xbox One was Wii U.
Okay. So, yeah, the Wii, and we know what the Wii was at that time. That thing destroyed everything. Yeah. Holy crap. And it was the cheaper option, too. Like, holy crap. Like,
and the easier to play version.
Nintendo's always been the best entry level, I think, because they're always the cheaper console. And they have games that is more for everyone, I feel. So that it's just better entry level. And then if you really want to spend some money, then you do like PlayStation and Xbox. Jesus, those prices. Wow. Yeah, like, especially like now where it feels like there's more things pulling your money from your purse these days. It's even harder to just, because you've got people are doing like streaming services and well, people got to eat, and then housing prices keep going up. Like, it's harder and harder to justify gaming to an extent. So
some of the things though PlayStation have been pulling out do somewhat justify though, because if we go further down the list on the PS4 show that they showed,
yeah,
there was Project Athia, aka any game with project in its name is not coming out. So
yeah.
Moving on from that, Stray, which was basically cat RPG set in Neo Tokyo, which looks adorable as hell.
Yes.
Returnal, which looked like an isometric game, but is not. It's actually third with a weird camera, based on constantly resurrecting.
Yeah. With like the best title of the night, Returnal is such a ridiculous name. Also, credit to the protagonist of that just being some random white-looking lady, like some random white lady. You don't normally get that.
Heterochromic white lady. It's like, ooh,
yeah,
that's a nice.
You don't normally get that kind of protagonist. So like, that's interesting. Like, she just looks like a normal older lady. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's not a protagonist you usually get. Like, wouldn't be surprised if someone who looks like Aloy or just a more younger kind of character, more adventure character for that spot. Instead, they had this like, she's probably like an astronaut or scientist lady kind of person. It's like, that's different. You never had that kind of character. So as just being different, I'm interested in that and just the concept of the game itself. Also, I hope it's not a PlayStation exclusive. I have no idea if it is. They didn't say what's exclusive or not, really.
Yeah, like some things are obvious. Like for example, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, the Little Big Planet spin-off. That's going to be guaranteed. Like PS5.
I don't even remember what Destruction All-Stars was.
Destruction All-Stars, that was the name after. Destruction All-Stars was basically, what if we take a little bit of Rocket League, a little bit of Fortnite, and a little bit of Twisted Metal and stuck it all together?
Wow, I totally don't remember that at all. Yeesh.
Yeah, it was essentially a Destruction Derby style game in an arena and color style that was kind of like Rocket League. But it also had characters getting out of their cars and doing emotes and like hipster dances like Fortnite, and it's made in Unreal, so it's got that Fortnite animation style.
Okay, that's interesting.
So it's a mix of that. Then we have Oh My God, My Heart, the video game of the show. It gets the Ori and the Blind Forest award. Kona Bridge of Souls.
Yeah,
the game that's like, oh, is this like a cross between Ori and the Blind Forest and Pikmin? I'm in.
Yeah, I'm really curious. It was really cute. I'm curious about that one a lot. By the way, Ori 2 came out earlier this year and nobody knew, which is unfortunate.
It was low-key pretty great from my understanding.
Yeah.
It wasn't my cup of tea, but
it didn't get a lot of advertising, unfortunately. Like, I know I'm going to play it at some point. It just wasn't advertised, which is a weird thing, because Ori 1 was... People went nuts for that.
Then after that, it was Goodbye Volcano High, aka What Happens If You Took BoJack Horseman and made it a furry simulator instead.
I'm curious, this is going to be the Night in the Woods of this generation, for sure. Like, it's going to be a teen angst kind of game. It's going to be young adult teen angst, for sure. Night in the Woods was that for the last generation.
Life is Strange crossed with anthropomorphized animals.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I don't feel like that's my game anymore. Like, I think I'm generationed out on that. Although, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's going to be a game for each generation. And this is the game for the generation after me, for sure. I think this is the Gen Z game for sure.
Perfect segue, Scarf. Because going back 2 generations, Oddworld Soulstorm.
Oh my god, how long has it been?
That came out of nowhere. On the show. That was like out of nowhere award number 1.
I'm trying to remember
Oddworld.
If that got the biggest reaction out of me or not. I know it got a big reaction though out of me. I'm like, oh snap, Oddworld, what? It's been so long. Like, we got, was it New and Tasty how many years ago? That's the last Oddworld thing we got, and that was just a remake of the original.
Oh god, I don't remember that. Let me do some rapid Googling for you.
And then before that, I think was The Stranger was the last Oddworld game. And The Stranger was cool for what it was.
Initial release date, 22nd of July, 2014. It's been a while.
It's been a while. Like, Oddworld is just an interesting universe. It's an odd world.
No release date yet for Soulstorm. No release date yet for it.
Okay. I'm just curious about, like, it's that kind of game. We haven't seen a game of its style in a long time. I actually can't even think of... There have been games of this style, but I can't think of any that have been in a big way like Oddworld has been. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know how it's gonna go, but it is Oddworld, so definitely excited for it. Oh, and then the next one!
Ghostwire! The game we were all curious about, minus the very happy woman who moved out of the team project onto other things, but the game itself still looks fantastic. And a game I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole because it looks horror as shit.
The funny thing about Ghostwire is more people talked about her not being there than the game itself. That's what I noticed. Like, people are really commenting on her not being there. Like, okay. Like, yeah, she's great. Everyone likes her. I like her too. The game itself, I'm curious. I just to you,
Your character does jutsus in the middle of Neo Tokyo, fighting like tall men.
Mm-hmm. I at the same time, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it could be fun. I also don't know at the same time. Right now, what would you call is a good, like, standard of FPS to you right now? Like, a game that's just, this is, if I'm thinking of FPS, this is a game I think of.
Ghostwire Tokyo, I wouldn't put it in first person shooter. I put it in like a similar category but if I put Ghostwire in the same category as, ironically enough, Deathloop, which is also shown later on in the show. It's got
Yeah.
a first person element and some shootery stuff with the spells, but there's also adventure things like a Dishonored or a Deathloop.
Yeah.
So it's like in this weird middle ground, but it works.
I'm curious what's gonna happen with it. I'm not sure. Then the Far Shore, is that the one from Super Brothers?
Yeah, Jets, The Far Shore. Yeah, it's a movie style action adventure. It might have been from then. I don't remember exactly, but it seemed like fine enough.
Yeah,
Like I
I'm
kind of blanked on it
curious.
slightly, but
Yeah.
yeah. Then we had sorry, go on,
Godfall. Then we had Godfall.
did someone say on The Far Shore before I moved on too quickly?
Oh no, I had nothing. I'm just saying, like, then
Okay.
there's Godfall.
Yeah,
which
Godfall. Oh.
looks fun.
The trailer though, the inappropriate music.
Yeah. I wasn't even focused on the music. Like, oh, this gameplay looks like it might be fun.
Yeah. If you watch it with the music muted, it looks kind of hype. The trailer's like really hastily cut together, but oh god, not every game needs to have like Spotify top 20 as the backing. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like we get it. You try and do the EA thing of cutting trailers together with music, but they do custom orchestral stuff, which is why it works.
Yeah.
It's like, moving on swiftly. Solar Ash.
Solar Ash. I think that one might be the Super Brothers game. And it's just a space game, so curious.
Yeah.
Oh, this might have gotten the biggest reaction for me.
Hitman.
Yes.
Hitman 3.
Hitman has been my jam my entire life. Should not be playing that as a teenager, but I did. And somehow I didn't kill everyone, so violence does not make you, games does not make you more violent. Because that game would have done it for me.
A trailer also with a popped collar.
Well, yeah.
A trailer also with a popped collar. He had like, yeah.
He's got to hide his bald identity.
Yeah. Did a bit. They did show gameplay for it though, thankfully, and it was a little bit of like Dubai, and it was on a huge tower, and it looks like you spawn in climbing it. Okay.
What?
Definitely a bigger scale.
Yeah, like Hitman it's just a really good series, and I can't wait to see how this goes because it's going to conclude the newest story. So I'm curious about that. And it's been going. The journey of Hitman's amazing, just because like they were a Square Enix thing, and then they broke off and did their own thing, and because of budgeting reasons, the story was done in stills instead of in cutscenes. And now I assume they got enough budget where they can actually do what they want to do this time. It's just been a very interesting journey they've gone through. They've been kind of like scraping along while being really nice looking. So I'm curious what's going to happen with this newest one. It's going to be January 2021. My next LP at that point will be that one. And wording it wrong. My LP in January 2021 is going to be Hitman 3. Straight up.
Unless there's a new code game, which is that goes straight on the back burner.
They'll have to happen at the same time.
We're still waiting on the Nintendo conference. We haven't had a Nintendo one in a while.
I'm surprised. I really thought Nintendo was going to cook something up for just the E3 spot, just to be consistent. And they didn't.
Considering that E3's now been stretched out with Jeff Keighley's Summer of Gaming, that we could be seeing something later. Like, they may just not have announced it yet. Like, we could be seeing a Treehouse. I mean, we're seeing stuff randomly, like today, like Shadow dropping a trailer for Pokemon Snap.
Yeah. So bruh. I don't know. I don't, because they have been putting things that would have been in their E3 thing. Pokemon Snap would have been in there. Origami King would have been in there. And then who knows? Honestly, all they need is to just go like Bayonetta 3 is being worked on, or what's the Samus? Metroid 4.
Metroid 4.
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4.
Show something for Metroid 4 and you'd win this whole period immediately.
Yeah.
Just 5 minutes of Metroid 4 gameplay, uncut, you win the Summer of Gaming in 2020.
And the Kirby
Win.
universe is waiting for the next Kirby. Kirby has had a game every single year except 1996 or 1998. For 27 years, there's been a Kirby game. So those people are waiting.
Here's the question: can Kirby overcome COVID-19? Can the boy do it?
Of course he can. Of course, here's the other thing to keep in mind is Japan's getting hit with the virus right now. So that's obviously affecting things. Because what's helping PlayStation and Xbox is they're not only in Japan. Nintendo, only in Japan. So, interesting thing I learned, because I know a guy who works for PlayStation, and he was like, well, why can't I do work from home? And it's just, instead of the office, and it's just like, well, all our stuff is locked to the building server. They're not going to let anyone do any remote stuff. So it is slowing things down for PlayStation a bit too.
Same reason the Elatron DLC for Monster Hunter Iceborne got so delayed. It was meant to be out by now, but because of they had to lock down and couldn't work from home, because that's not how they do it over there, it's like that got hard stopped, and they only recently put out a message saying, hey, we're working on it again, it's out in July. So
what would have been the most Japanese thing to do, and I'm surprised they didn't do it, was, okay, everyone lives at the office for a couple months. I can't believe they didn't do that. I would have been like, yeah, that sounds about right. If they did that. But they haven't done that like they did the other one. Like, yeah, everyone's just at home right now. It's like, all right, okay. Space Robot, no memory Space Robot. I don't remember.
You may know better by Astro's Playroom. Basically, they had Astro's Playroom. They had the Astro series, quote unquote, was a VR game for PlayStation VR, and then they turned it into like a whole thing. Okay, it's a platformer.
Yeah, fun enough. It looked cute. That's how I remember. It was a cute robot game. Now, here's the one out of the indies that has me the most interested, and that is Little Devil Inside.
Yes.
That was interesting. Oh, son of a bitch, it's exclusive.
Apparently, this was kickstarted back in 2015.
Yeah! I was like, wait a sec, this was kickstarted back then? I would have donated to that. Jeez. So it is exclusive to PlayStation for a while. Time, though. Yeah. That was the one game like, please tell me it's not exclusive. Please tell me it's not exclusive. Please. Turns out, yeah, it will eventually come to PC. That one I'm very interested in because art style looks interesting, gameplay looks interesting. The story, whatever they're presenting there, I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I'm really curious. And it just looks like your guy who's just hunting monsters. Like he looks like he's just The Witcher, but in a different kind of universe kind of thing going on. So I'm interested in that.
Then we have the pee break.
Yeah, and that's what I call it.
That's Bug Snacks. Then we had goddamn Bug Snacks.
Bug Snacks got my attention. Okay, real
catchy
quick.
Theme of the show.
Oh yeah, like Bug Snacks.
Don't sing it now. Everyone's heads. God damn it.
So that one had me so curious. I'm like, okay, it starts out with the little strawberry. Like, oh, there's a little strawberry. Okay, that's cute. We're gonna do like Pokemon with fruits or something. And then the safari person shows up. Was like, hey, this is Bug Snacks, and they just straight up eat the strawberry. Like, no, why did you eat?
How dare you?
And then they got a strawberry arm. I was like, well, that's curious. Okay. And I'm just curious if it's gonna be like kind of like I got like Viva Pinata kind of vibes off of it.
Yes. I thought PlayStation were making a run for their own Viva Pinata style game, and I was like, I am so in for this.
Yeah.
We haven't had a Viva Pinata in years.
So the feeling I get from it is like it's like Animal Crossing, Viva Pinata, something around that area where it's just hang out, mess with the nature, with nature, and it's just one of those kind of games where your goal isn't exactly given to you necessarily. Like there might be some goals or things to do, but it's one of those just mess around kind of games. That's what it really looks like and feels like.
And then in a complete tonal shift in both excitement levels and the game, Shuhei goddamn Yoshida decides to pull out of his bag the Demon Souls remake, no less, from Bluepoint.
So for 2 seconds, so the first thing you see is a body and like a grasp going by, and like just how drab it looks. So when I saw that, because I've never played Demon Souls, when I saw like, oh, okay, is this supposed to be Attack on Titan? It's a giant thing holding a body, and then I see then I see like some sort of monster or something or a knight. I'm like, okay, that's Dark Souls. Are we looking Dark Souls 4? What's going on here? And then it's like Demon Souls. Oh, okay, so the opposite of 4. It's going back to the start of it all. Demon Souls.
Yeah, I was in a similar place when I heard the music start playing and we got those backgrounds. As soon as As soon as we saw the clergy walking along the beach, and then the choir kicked in, I'm like, okay, this is either Elden Ring or Demon Souls remake that people are wanting. One of the two.
Yeah.
And then when I saw the flute helmet, it's like, oh, this is Demon Souls. Okay. I've never played it, but I recognize some elements of it. Like, as soon as I saw the Great Knight, the one with the humongous shield, just slam it down. Like, okay, we Demon Souls now.
Yeah.
Time for world tendency to come back. Like, there's so many questions. Like, of course, this is a remake being done by Blue Point Studios, the guys who handled the Shadow of the Colossus remake. How much are they going to be changing it? Because you don't change mechanics in Dark Souls games. That is sanctum mundum. If they start tweaking things, people are going to get pissed. So, but of course, it's a remake. They have to change things.
Yeah.
Some things in Demon Souls are just bad. Like item burden, for example. Not only is there equipment load, you can only carry so many items in your inventory. Like, you can lose a mission critical item because you couldn't put it in your pocket and then you died. So there's gotta be like some quality of life things here and there, among other things.
I think no matter what they do, there's gonna be outcry from some hardcore, because that's just what happens. You will never be able to please the hardcore market, so don't even try. You should just try to make the best remaster you can make. And just do what feels right. Like, make a game that you know feels right when you make it. I think that's the best way to do it. Keep the spirit. I know people want them to keep the cat. So in the original Demon Souls, the picture of a cat was just literally a picture of a cat. Just a photo of a cat.
Literally just cat.avi.
Yeah. Not a graphical cat. Just, .avi kind of things like that. That might be an Easter egg to keep. Personally, I would just love to see it in a new engine. I mean, a new mechanics. I personally, which people would hate, is I would like to play 1 and 2 in Dark Souls 3's mechanic. And what's the right way to word it? Dark Souls 3 is the best. It just felt the best out of the 3 for me. Gameplay wise, it felt the best. It just felt better. 2 did not feel that great. 1 is 1. You just accept what 1 is. Because, well, 1's the start. I just feel like things done in 3 style just feels better to me. But that's me.
Yeah, it's very personal. And, like, for example, for me, I really enjoy 1s, 3s, and somewhat 2s. I enjoy all of them for different reasons. But with Demon Souls, it also has its own charm. Like, for instance, magic, incredibly overpowered in Demon Souls. After, in the previous games, especially with Miracles, magic was kind of meaned on to an extent, unless you got really high-end stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, you can one-shot a lot of bosses. Like, you get the right flame spell, and you can one-shot the Phalanx, the very first boss of the game, from what I understand.
Wow.
And on top of that, like, for example, there are certain, like, builds that you only get 1 or 2 shots to get in the game, because crystal lizards get 1 life and that's it. They don't respawn. Little, like, crawly lizards that you can kill for rewards.
Yeah.
1 life only. And then there's the whole subject of world tendency, the whole karma system of the game, which affects the way the world is, and that whole, it's not tutorialized well at all. And then there's the cut content issue as well, the broken archstone, a supposed 6th area of the game with a snowy mountain, supposed to be the land of the giants that people found in the game files. So there's all sorts of, like, buckets, there's all sorts of stones that have to be overturned by Blue Point to decide what to do with it. Are they going to try and do some new things with it, or are they just going to basically do a Shadow of the Colossus? Because I didn't play that. Did you play the Shadow of the Colossus remake?
I didn't play the remake, no. So I have no idea.
From what I understand, they did add 1 or 2 extra Colossi to the game. Not too many, but they did add some new ones.
Huh.
So there is precedent for them messing with it.
They have to give you a reason to buy it if you didn't really care about just reskinning the game. Like,
Demon Souls is special, though, just as a final thing. Because Demon Souls is on PS3, and the online got turned off a little while back.
Okay.
So it is asinine to play right now, because you can't backwards compatibility it, really. You've got to get a PS3, and you've got to play it that way, unless you want to emulate it on PC. So, and even then, that's an absolute ache to do. So being able to play it with online, hopefully, in like current day infrastructure, that's a selling point in of itself, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it no matter what. I know that already. I just don't know what the results will be at the end of the day. Then it was here's Deathloop.
Deathloop.
Deathloop was style of the show for me. Like the style of that whole thing was pretty good. It is definitely Dishonored
With
vibes.
swag.
Yeah,
Dishonored with swag.
for sure. I'm really curious about that one. The first trailer we got like last year, I think it was, when we got that
Last
concept.
E3.
Yeah, last
Last
E3.
E3.
The sense I got was, I guess you could play either character. This one's like, no, you're just that guy, and this lady's
Yeah.
the worst one to deal with.
She could also invade your game as a PvP. There's player versus player confirmed. You can invade someone's game as her.
Oh, now that makes more sense to me. That makes way more sense, and because there, I haven't looked it up. The assumptions I made was maybe it's a learning AI, and they just learn to just figure out your tendencies and always own your ass. So the more you learn, the more
AI
it
as
learns.
well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's just you can also invade someone's game as the woman.
So that makes it even more interesting. Invasions from her, that makes it way more interesting because there's going to be some really good players who are just going to make you miserable. So I would hope for that, players who are that good, you don't get a repeat of the same player over and over again. I'm hoping, like, when that loop's over, they just go to someone else's loop, and you just don't get repeats of the same loop. Because it would suck to be not so great at the game and run into a pro player and just get owned over and over again. That would suck. That would really suck. I'm just curious, how long the game is. Like, are there things you have to earn later on to be able to complete it, or can you beat it on the first run if you're just that good? That's what I'm curious about. What kind of game it'll be.
There's no way you, on your blind playthrough, you could probably beat Deathloop in one go, because I imagine that game with the whole loop mechanic is going to make it so there's some knowledge that you can only acquire with a death.
Yeah.
Like, perhaps maybe there's some, like, glass you can look, like, maybe there's, like, a window you can look through to see a crucial bit of information, maybe, like, a door that you could blast open on the other side of a room, but you die for something. And then the loop starts again, and you use that knowledge. There's no way someone will beat that in one go. Yeah. People will speedrun it, probably. But, raw? Blind?
After they know.
I don't think so.
Blind, that's the thing I'm wondering. Like, could a pro player blind, just really good at just figuring out mechanics and just snap shooting really well, could they beat the whole thing? But that requires us knowing what the game is anyway. Like, there's always possible there's just you earn power or abilities later on that allow you to do further things when you do the loop again. That's the one thing about it. Like, I'm just curious about that, as just because that would be interesting if you could beat the first run or not. I think it's more interesting if you can. You're just very limited in power, maybe. Because we saw he does have powers. He's got like Dishonored stuff going on. So I am curious about that. That it was. Oh, right. So when they were showing this, I thought it was an RE4 remake. Because they're showing like farmers and villages and all that stuff. I was like, oh no, it's RE8. All right, okay, all right.
RE8, I'm a little on it because it is a continuation of RE7 and people enjoyed that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought it would be someone else or something.
Yeah, it's the protagonist from the 7th game, Ethan. But the villain in this is Chris Redfield now? Question mark. Where are they? And he's been redesigned again. Like, what's going on here, Chief?
At this point, I'm convinced they keep messing with Chris's model just so that people talk about it. They have to be, though. Like, if you take it in a straight line, taking out 7 because he looks ridiculous in 7, he looks like he's just getting older to an extent. He's getting older, he's getting buffer, and then 7 comes in, he looks like he lost a bunch of age. It's really weird. And then 8, he just looks like 6 bulked the hell up. Like, after 6, after losing all those soldiers and everything, he's like, what if I get tyrant sized? Will I be able to save more people if I become a tyrant myself? Because he looks huge. He looks like a fridge. In 8, he looks like he can handle the tyrant 1v1. Like, punching them boulders really bulked him up. That's what happened there. Freaking 5.
RE5, we both.
But yeah, I was wondering if it was him. And just what happens in that trailer is a big spoil for 7. I just cannot believe. All right, we're an 8 because I really thought we just needed 4 remake. Just because 4 is it's villages and all that stuff. Because we just got 3 and we had 2 the year before. And I was wondering, are they going to skip Code Veronica? Not a lot of information was given. Like halfway through, because people are like, what is this? What is this? What is this? And then halfway through, you see the umbrella symbol. It's like, oh, okay, we know what it is now. We definitely know what it is. That's when I started thinking maybe 4. But yeah, it's a Resident Evil game, so I'll check it out. Oh, Capcom made this one? So 2 in a row from Capcom. Pragmata, the Curious Robot Girl game.
This was a fun game to watch reaction streams for, because every single time the reaction streams went as follows. Start of the trailer. Death Stranding 2? ? Kojima? Middle of the trailer, when you start seeing him floating up into the sky and you see how the camera in the pictures, Dead Space? This looks Dead Spacey. Why the movement looks Dead Spacey? What's going on here? And then when you get into out to the moon, what? New title, Pragmata, but it's made by Capcom. Okay, I'm down. I have no idea what this is. Because it looked like Death Stranding to start with. Then started looking Death Spacey just in the way the character was moving with the boots. Like that sort of 360 flying, orbiting Death Spacey movement. And then it's something brand new? Alright, I'm down.
I luckily didn't have any of those feelings. I was like, oh, this looks like an interesting new thing. And I'm curious. I'm at least curious. I don't know what the hell it's going to be, though. It's going to be PC. Okay, it's going to be on PC, so okay, I care. Okay. And then Horizon for Forbidden West looks really nice. Looks very cool.
The show.
Yeah.
It looks so good.
I remember when Zero Dawn happened, people were like, well, this looks really nice. This looks really good. And it's like, oh, okay, this is what it is. Like, Techno Dinosaurs. What the, okay, all right. It was just so interesting. And this one looks interesting too, so I can't wait to eventually play the original.
I'm kind of mad because they showed off a returning machine, that being the Sarco, basically, crocodile.
Okay.
But then they showed off 2 ones, like a Tetzalcoatl pterodon flying one. But the star of the show, they made a alligator snapping turtle machine. Why'd it have to be an alligator snapping turtle? They're bastards. I've got a friend who lives in Florida, and the only thing he's not even scared of the alligators that live there. He constantly tells me about the alligator snapping turtles. Apparently they're dickheads. They are grade A dickheads.
Wow.
And they even got the eyes right, the beady eyes that stare at you.
Oh, that thing! Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huge jaw, which a normal alligator snapping turtle can bite through metal if it's pissed enough. Jeez. This thing's gonna bite through trees, probably.
I feel like that should have been the start of the show. I really feel like that should have been the start of the show. GTA 5 somewhere in the middle.
I think Horizon's a good send-off.
That's true too.
It is the best graphically looking game they have there, and it's one of their flagships. It is the one you send people home happy on, aside from the actual end of the show, which was the console reveal. Final game, I think Horizon Forbidden West was fine. Plus, they have Lance Riddick, which means I get to make Zavala Destiny 2 memes in the middle of my game, which is great. I could just go, indeed. And just, Lance Riddick, beautiful person, beautiful actor.
And then the console. And then the console. We already talked about the console.
Saito Kaiba, multiple, drive or no drive. Price has not been announced, that's important to note. Yeah. No price yet.
Yeah. And then just the controller, you don't have to be colorful as heck. It just looks boring, though. It just looks... It does look like it's... This, honestly, looking at the PlayStation stuff, all that stuff, it just looks like a Portal skin of the actual console. Whatever it was meant to be. It looks like a Portal skin.
Only legitimate complaint I've seen that wasn't just lol, look at the weird curves, was the size. And I say that someone did some analysis of the size of the console based on the USB ports on the front, because of course USB is standardized.
Yeah.
So someone did a side to side of all the consoles. The PS5 is bigger than the OG PS4, and that was a big console.
Yeah.
So is this going to be a problem fitting in some people's like television setups?
Oh
Maybe
dear.
if this is going to be a big console.
Well, if they want it to be strong, it's gonna be big too. So shoot.
Get rid of the noise issue because PS4's biggest problem was the noise because it got so hot the fans went into overdrive all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got to make it bigger, but the size could be. I'm expecting many Christmases when this console is delivered. They're going to try and set it up in their like under the television like racks, and it's not going to fit.
Yeah, it's gonna happen for sure. Well, they'll know it is when they get the box anyway. But that's a big thing. I appreciate how small the Nintendo stuff is. Very compact. It's not
like the
it's not
Switch
a
Lite
little
literally could just fit in your pocket. The Switch Lite's tiny, right?
Yeah, it's pretty like
the portable exclusive one.
It's a little bit smaller.
That's the regular Switch, right?
Yeah, so the Lite's like a little bit slightly smaller, like a little bit. Well, it's not like it's a PSP. You'd have to have a big pocket. Like you'd be like up to here in your pocket probably, so it's still hanging out, but still you could have it in your pocket. Yeah, I don't think I'd have an expensive console in my pocket, but you can. Then again, you've got this $1,000 brick in your pocket.
True.
So. Okay, so there's gonna be an Xbox One for the main stuff eventually, so we'll probably talk about that one in the future.
Later this month or early next month, I believe, when we're getting the first party stuff from Xbox. That hopefully should be good because PlayStation knocked it out of the park this show for the most part.
Yeah.
So Xbox like bought all the studios, like something has to come out of them.
Oh yeah, true. They did. I forgot about that. They went looking. And they got some good ones, so we'll see what happens with that. Because I'd like to see Xbox do better. Good competition's important. Like, PlayStation needs competition from Xbox. Because Nintendo runs its own race. No one's competing with Nintendo because Nintendo's not competing with anyone. Nintendo's never seen anyone as a competitor. It's amazing.
And anyone that has tried to compete with Nintendo in their own backyard got slapped looking at you, PS Vita.
Oh, yeah.
It's like PS Vita versus 3DS. Which one do you want?
Yeah.
The PS Vita is a lot more powerful, but the 3DS just kicks the shit out of it anyway.
Mm-hmm. And there's also the market, which would be interesting, the VR market, see what happens with that. Like, that could be very interesting.
No PSVR announcement for PS5 either.
Because I'm just remembering when Xbox and PlayStation tried to compete with Nintendo after the Wii happened. It's like, well, these are just not as good imitations. They're alright. But then VR in its own right is going to be very interesting.
Gotta get the price down, in my opinion.
That's the
price has got to come down.
That's the entry. That's what's stopping me from getting it. Is just the price. The price of entry is like what, 400?
Even depending, like I'll look at the price of PSVR now, but for the Valve Index, which I've seen some people argue as like the creme de la creme of VR right now. If you want to play VR the most accurate way possible, like all of that kind of thing, that's like $1,000 the bundle on Steam.
Like, and that's why they made Half-Life Alyx to show off how good VR can be.
Yeah.
And
here we are. PSVR bundle for $349.99 at Best Buy in the US. So that's like still pretty expensive. Like VR is naturally going to be somewhat expensive always because of the tech, but $349 for PSVR, which is good but not great because it sits with the Move controllers and the camera. It's not dedicated tech yet.
Yeah.
It just kind of jumps on, like it's like putting VR with the Kinect.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's cool concept. But it's not enough. Like the interesting thing is just PlayStation's like, okay, it's gonna be its own thing now. Like maybe PlayStation will do that with the next VR generation. Since they didn't say anything about it with the 5. But I don't know.
The only 2 games that I've seen that have really sold PSVR for people, in my opinion, on PlayStation was Resident Evil 7, because apparently that game is the scariest thing on the planet in VR.
Huh.
And strangely enough, Tetris Effect. You know, like the trippy neon-y Tetris game. Not
Yeah.
Tetris 99, the Battle Royale, Tetris Effect.
Yeah, okay.
Apparently that game in VR is fantastic if you're into Tetris. I'm not, but I have the soundtrack for the game in my Spotify playlist on loop, basically.
Okay.
So next to Yakuza. So it's oh yeah, I've gone down the rabbit hole of Yakuza, but we do not have enough time in this podcast to be talking about my Yakuza adventures. That's a whole other thing entirely.
That's one thing I really want to do.
Yakuza is so good. But Tetris Effect on VR, like, apparently is a system seller for that. Those only two for me. Maybe other people have other opinions, like say in the comments, but
like Beat Saber, people really like that. I think that's the biggest thing is VR needs the games. Because you need well, they're called system sellers for a reason. You need something that makes people they must get VR for this thing. And I think that's just going to require the technology getting better before something like that actually happens. Or someone just figures out a way to work it with what's happening now and just make it really good. Because the hardest part with VR is movement. That's going to be the hardest thing, always.
You know what I would love to see become more commonplace to help with that? Once COVID-19's over, or like the whole shebang, VR arcades, the concept. I've seen a few of them, and one or two have popped up here in England. There's more in the States. But places you can go to where you can rent a VR headset and a space to play in like a giant room. And there's usually like 4 or 5 squares mapped out. And there's like a selection of games you could play, like Beat Saber, handguns, horseshoes, and hand grenades, like the gun simulator, and a couple other things. And those, like, if people can just rent a VR slot for like, hey, pay £15, get some VR for an hour, try it out. And because I've always wanted to play Elite Dangerous in VR, because I've played a little bit of Elite Dangerous on my Xbox, and it was great. But in VR, immersive, in space, oh, that would be the best. But I can't justify the price. But if I could get a taste of it, I might be more willing. Because once you get the taste of VR, apparently you can't give it up.
Yeah. So Vegas has been experimenting with it. Vegas has 2 different experimentations happening. Or 3. It has 3 different experiments. 4. Okay, they have 4 different experiments going on. One of them died out quick. They were trying to do hologram stuff. Didn't work out.
Hologram?
They were trying to do some hologram stuff instead of VR. Didn't work out at all. They have dedicated VR spaces. They have like a whole like escape room-esque VR thing going on. And that's very interesting. And then they have a bar and a VR, different cubes where you can play VR and just drunks playing VR. And so those experiments they've been doing right now, and I just never see anyone play them. So I don't know about that. I don't know. I really don't know about VR in a big space. You'll randomly see people do them. The ones that are most interesting to me has got to be the dedicated VR rooms. Like there's the Star Wars one. And apparently Japan has a Dragon Ball one. And that sounds insane. Like, there's a Star Wars one that you can go to Disney Downtown. You can play, and you put on like a whole suit and everything. And you're walking in a number of rooms. And it's you, your buddies, the VR, the whole setup just knows where you and your buddies are and everything. And you put your hand out, you really feel like you're in the universe that you're in. And so dedicated rooms VR is very interesting. You can't do that at home, obviously. But just seeing where it can be taken on the high end is very interesting. I gotta try it myself when after the virus is over, just so I have a better first-hand knowledge of it. But it sounds amazing. Like you really feel like you're in Star Wars. And apparently people did Dragon Ball, like, you feel like you're really doing Dragon Ball shit. I'm like, oh, that sounds very interesting. Talking Dragon Ball. But I don't know. Like the biggest thing is as technology goes forward, things we didn't think were possible become possible. That's just how it is. Like because I'm a Nintendo person, just the concept of having a mobile console like Switch is amazing. The concept of just 2DS was really cool. The Wii is the big one. It's the biggest one. The Wii changed the landscape for everyone. It brought in millions upon millions of people into gaming. That's what it did. So that's really good. So we didn't imagine the Wii before we got to it. We didn't imagine motion controls before we got there. We didn't imagine VR before we got there. I remember the lies of the Kinect though. Remember the first
Lord.
Kinect trailer? Oh my god, if it was that good.
Want to see an underside of an Avatar shoe? Dislocates foot. Wabam!
Oh man. Actual things being possible compared to just you wish this was possible. Like, I don't. There's a big letdown when Kinect was like, here's the things that we're gonna be able to do, and then here's the things we actually can do. And then actually seeing it, like, because Nintendo never did like, oh, here's some crazy ass stuff, and then here's what we can actually do. No, he was like, this is what we can do, and it was just really fun and just cool concepts. Or just the nice thing about gaming is innovation. I think is what I'm trying to get at. Is we keep seeing things we never imagined, and then they happen. It's like, oh wow, we can't even imagine this concept not existing anymore. And that's even within game genres. Like, say, like just PUBG and Fortnite and the Battle Royale scene just exploding the way it did. We never imagined that. I remember when Fortnite first happened, like, this concept doesn't sound all that great. And then it just, look at it. Look what Fortnite has become. Just seeing the innovations in general, we go from, like, we can't imagine it to, like, it's all over the place. And so we're going to see things with SSDRs, and I'm really curious how far they can take that. And then whatever comes next. I don't even know what the next thing can even be. Because what can you even... Well, you can't imagine it until it happens. Where am I going with this? I don't know, actually.
I've got more present worries. I just hope that both consoles stick the landing, considering there's been COVID-19 production concerns. Of course, the factories in like Asia are going to have problems because you need workers together. So there was some rumors going around that like price may go up slightly, or like then we may sell out a la Nintendo, except it's not forced like fake sellout; it's actual production sellout. So that could happen. There could be some very sad kids come Christmas.
Yeah, I think there will be production limitations. I think we're gonna see a lot of scalpers. Like you said with Nintendo, it's gonna happen here. There's gonna be a lot of scalping of these consoles. I am really surprised they're still aiming for holiday. I'm really surprised with that. I really feel like they should be waiting for 2021 because the whole damn planet got hit by this thing. The whole planet got hit by it. You got people who aren't even going to be able to afford consoles in the first place.
Remind me, Scarf, how bad was the scalping for Switch's initial release?
You couldn't find it. You just couldn't find a Switch anywhere. Because people were just buying them up. Everyone wanted one, they couldn't get one. They had to go to scalpers, and F the scalpers. Yeah, you really couldn't find one. How bad were the prices
getting?
Now that I don't know, because I didn't even bother. I was like, I'll just wait. That part I don't know, but I just remember people like, where are the Switches? You can't find Switches. And it's at the same time Nintendo's always conservative. They're always conservative because they don't want to make too many. I think Wii U really scared them. Because Wii U happened, so they got more conservative. Well, Switch has been a great seller, so I feel like when Switch 2 happens, they don't have to be as scared about it. Especially because, yeah, scalpers suck, and I'd like scalpers not to be a thing this time. So yeah, lessons from what happened to Nintendo would be very interesting to see for PlayStation and Xbox. But what can they really display learning from it? Because they're in a different kind of bottleneck. I think Nintendo put themselves in the bottleneck, and this one it's an actual production bottleneck happening for PlayStation and Xbox. I don't think there's anything they can do about it. At the end of the day, why do they even care? They're getting paid anyway. Their systems are going to get sold. They're going to make their money. At that point, it's just scalpers making more money off of that, which is very frustrating for the consumer. But for the producer, they make their money. So I don't know. Of course, they still need people to buy those things to buy their games. I think they should have pushed it.
I'm just hoping things are okay. Like with all the consoles, Series X, PS5. I'm foreseeing a lot of sad kids come Christmas.
Oh yeah,
that's my final takeaway.
Guaranteed. I think it's guaranteed there's gonna be a lot of sad kids coming Christmas. So I feel like they should have just pushed it back. Just pushed it to 2021. But it's a big beast they can't really push back at the same time. Because you have games being developed for this point in time. But then those are going to get pushed back too because people getting sick. It's a big old mess. We keep ending on downers. Thanks, Verb. Thanks.
We need something happy. We need something happy. Oh God.
Well, the thing to be happy is there's some great games that are going to happen. There's some great games that are going to happen. There's also a lot of great games that are happening right now that you can already play. Whenever the hell Horizon Zero Dawn gets the PC.
Yeah, Forbidden West. We're getting Horizon Zero Dawn on PC.
Really curious about that. I closed the PlayStation, so I don't even have anymore.
Here's a happy thought that I can think of. What if PlayStation pulled, because they're doing more shows, they've confirmed they're going to be doing more before release. I really hope that PlayStation pulls the trigger on their own Game Pass, because Xbox Game Pass right now is some of the dumbest value in the industry.
Oh yes, it is.
Straight up.
The Game Passes are amazing value. The Xbox Pass is an amazing value. The EA Pass is amazing value.
Xbox EA, I have EA Origin and Xbox One, like Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass for Windows. Blows the hell out of like Origin and Uplay Plus. Like Uplay Plus has their own thing as well.
I think they're good value. Xbox is the best value. Xbox is the highest tier, and they're next tier. For sure, they're not on the same level. But they're still better value than just buying the game. Because of course they are. Especially if you're a marathon player, the pass is just way cheaper than buying these games. Did PlayStation gets it? I don't know.
I wish Game Pass was around when I was a kid. Because Game Pass, I'm willing to put my money down on this.
Yeah, GameFly.
By the end of next generation, Game Pass to the upcoming generation will be the blockbuster that it was to us. Because if I had the ability to give my mum £5 or like whatever the price, I think it's like $5.99 every month to get unlimited games on Game Pass monthly, just download straight without having to like tag along with my mum on really boring shopping trips to then drag her around for half an hour at Blockbuster while I browse what I want, to then go home with just two, to have to worry about return fees afterwards as well. Or even when a game comes out, like send her out to go get it for me, or we go out to the midnight release or whatever, versus just sitting at home and downloading it. I would have killed for that as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely killed.
I think it'll become tiered, like how EA does it. But there's the gold and the silver or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think if PlayStation does it, it'll be tiered. Because Xbox doesn't do tiers, if I remember at the moment. Like, I have it.
There's technically tiers, because there's Game Pass and then Game Pass Ultimate, which is Pass and Xbox Live Gold bundled in, but that's all there is.
Alright, because obviously I have the PC version. As far as I know, the PC version is just the one, because you can't really do the Xbox stuff.
Yeah, Windows.
Yeah, the Windows Store version or whatever, which is pretty good value. It's really good value. Like, I've just been playing. Yeah, I've been playing. It's gonna take a whole year before. It would take a whole year of not playing anything for it to be. It costs more to have it than not have it, kind of thing. Because I've already played quite a few games on that pass. It's pretty good value. The EA one, not as well. EA doesn't have as many games either, but I still think EA. What?
If Sports Guide's good value,
oh,
because you get all of their back catalog of sports games, and if God forbid you've been sucked into their like Ultimate Team giant microtransaction wheel, you get discounts on that. But even then, like EA Access, what have I played off it? A Way Out, the co-op game. I played that. I dabbled in a little bit of Anthem because it was free, because it's on EA Access, and like that's about it. Maybe 1 or 2 extras, but that was about it.
Like, if
way more on Game Pass.
If you're a FIFA fan, you just need to play like 2 other games, and you've justified the damn thing. That's about it.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna buy that new FIFA game every year anyway. It's amazing how much EA has abused FIFA. It's kind of ridiculous.
Oh, they've got so much money out of it. Like, they've got England at the very minimum in a stranglehold with FIFA releases. Oh
Yeah.
my lord!
Oh, we can end
But
with this.
that's a rabbit. That is a rabbit hole. We've got to go down.
Yeah. We can end with this, and that is the Squadrons, the new Star Wars game. Really curious about that. It looks like it's going to be 5v5 space combat, so like hero shooter space combat. Not 100% sure.
It apparently has a story mode. There was a blurb in the description below the video, and apparently it does have a story. So modern day X-Men Rogue Squadron hype, or X-Men X-Wing, like X-Men Rogue Squadron. Okay, that'll be a crossover. Like X-Wing Rogue Squadron, that'll be hype.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Imperial symbol or third or first order symbol for the other side. Because
it was a first order. Like the helmets were pretty first ordery.
Okay, so it's going to be like between 6 and 7 or mid 7 through 9, something like that. You might run into Poe. You're definitely going to run into Wedge.
Multiple errors. Because I mean, they're going to do multiple errors easily though.
Ooh,
because who doesn't want to fly in one of those really weird CIS spider ships?
Oh yeah,
like fly like that and then land like that. Like that whole landing thing. And then there's the giant floating orbs, and then there's all sorts of things. Jedi fighters from the prequels. Then you've got like flying in like Prime Millennium Falcon.
It would be really cool if they did across the generations. That'd be even better. Assuming though, I assume they'd be more focused. The story's going to be 7 through 9 or somewhere around that era for sure. But the gameplay itself, if they let you do that, like more creatively stuff like that, probably be DLC. Let's guarantee it's going to be DLC. They could go nuts with this thing. They really could. It'd be fun to see a bunch of different fighters for sure. What does date it a little bit is, well, obviously you see TIE fighters and X-Wings, so that does date it. Well, interesting Easter egg for people who watch Rebels. There's a character from Rebels. At least it looks like it's a character from Rebels there. The Twi'lek looks like she's Hera Syndulla. At least that's what it looks like to people. Who's from the Rebels show. I am just at least very interested. I'm really bad at space combat games. Really bad. I'm going to get destroyed, but I am curious to play it, and I hope it's good. I think they learned their lesson after Battlefront 2. But they might not. Could be wrong. Maybe. The thing is, after Battlefront 2, and now Fallen Order, which apparently is really good, I'm going to try it out. I'm going to finally play it at some point. Like, Fallen Order is like Star Wars Dark Souls, is my understanding. And we got Squadrons. It'd be interesting to see... Good. Okay, that's good news. It'd be interesting to see if they learned their lesson or not. Because Battlefront 2 did not go well. Fallen Order went very well. It sold extremely well. So will Squadrons be more Battlefront 2 or more Fallen Order? That's the question there. I feel like the story might be fun, but it's all about multiplayer. And we know how EA is about multiplayer. We definitely know how EA is about multiplayer. I'm really hoping it's going to be really fun, though. So, I guess we'll end it there. We can just keep going. So, where can everyone find Verbalosity again?
Universal branding being a wonderful thing. Just literally anything for Velocity. Like Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, technically. Even though I'm not a YouTuber by trade. Like, just search Verbalosity, you'll find me.
Alright. Anything you want to shout out before we head out?
Not much off the top of my head. I've got tournaments that I usually will advertise close to the date on my Twitter. So in terms of shoutouts, just keep an eye on my Twitter at Verbalosity. I do most of my communicating on there, so anything I'm doing will be talked about on there.
Alright. Okay, so this has been basically a podcast, and expect Verb after the Xbox main stuff comes out at some point. Don't know when it's going to be,
Part 3, but... Return of the Weird Shows.
Yes, and then we'll talk about that stuff for sure. So, it is I, LostScarf. Thanks for coming by. Hope you had fun. I think we had fun talking, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.